Welcome to Daily Focus. Thank you for joining me this morning. A couple minutes late. I haven't decided whether I want to hit these at 7:15 or 7:30. This morning was a little bit disrupted as my wife got a phone call, and we'll have some added responsibilities today. So that put us back a little bit in getting our morning all organized and figuring out where we're going to be when today. And you know how that goes in busy life. Proverbs chapter 27, we're going to look at the value of friendship. And can I just encourage you, don't take your friends for granted. Don't just let friendships develop without an expression and communication of how important they are and what they mean to you and how thankful you are. Sometimes I think we just assume that our friends know what we think and how much we love and appreciate them. But I think sometimes it's just good to communicate it and to let them know what a joy they bring to our heart and what an important part they play in our everyday life, and the stability and the encouragement, the counsel, the loyalty, all of those things that friends bring just does our soul good. And so we're going to look a little bit at the value of friendship today, looking at Proverbs chapter 27. It says, we remind you in verse number 6, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The full soul loatheth the honeycomb, but to the hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. As a bird that wandereth from her nest, so is a man that wandereth from his place. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart, so doth the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel. Thine own friend and thy father's friend forsake not, neither go into thy brother's house in the day of thy calamity. For better is a neighbor that is near than a brother far off. My son, be wise and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that reproacheth me. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. If you followed me very much, or if you go to my church, you know that this Proverbs 27:11, is the exact same verse as Proverbs 22:3. And word for word, God repeats himself talking about the wisdom that comes from looking ahead and seeing what is going to need to be done, and then planning each day for that day. I've used it in a financial arena many times, and that is, you need to plan ahead for what's going to break, because the second law of thermodynamics doesn't just refer to our bodies, though they do wear out and break down. It refers to everything. Our car will not last forever. Our furnace will not last forever. The shingles on our roof will not last forever. The dishwasher, the washer and dryer, and I could go on and on and on. Your flooring even won't last forever, in your furniture. And what is your plan? What did you plan this week for what is coming? And God says the prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself. He prepares for it. But the simple or the ignorant is passed on and punished. In other words, they go, I'll worry about that someday. Well, that someday happens, but they're not ready. And they've not put any money aside. So they either are borrowing money, or they're using credit cards, or they're scrambling, or they're doing without, or it's really beginning to complicate life because they just didn't plan. In our world today, we just assume someone else should take responsibility and step up and rescue us from our plight. And but God says, you're being punished because you've been ignorant. You've been like an airhead. Is the word. Well, here we find the verse again. But it's interesting that it's in the context of friendship and friendships that bring about good counsel. And here he gives us the same thing. You know what? Friendships take planning. It takes implementation. If you don't nurture friendship, it doesn't ever reach the level of closeness and help to each other that it could. And so friendships take work. It takes communication. It takes being intentional. It takes time. These are things that friendships require. And so God is saying, you know what? If you just think that friends are always going to be there, they're not. If you think that friends are just going to by themselves develop, well, relationships don't work that way. Our relationship with our spouse doesn't work that way. Our relationship with our kids don't work that way. Our relationship with God doesn't work that way. And our relationship with friends doesn't work that way. What relationships require is time. It requires talking. It requires that we actually are participating in nurturing and adding to the relationship. And then what that friendship brings, as you have been prudent, as you have been investing, as you have been nurturing it, is it brings about wise counsel. You know, in verse number 10, it's not necessarily saying, or is it verse number 9? Verse number 10, it's not really putting down a distant relationship with a brother. It's just saying that family is important. Family is critical as well. But sometimes if you have a brother that you're just not close to, or you have a family member that you're just not close to, in the day of calamity, in the day where you need some advice, you need some direction, you need some encouragement, you need some counsel, well, that friend, that neighbor who is near, who is close to you, becomes more valuable than even family. And it's because you've nurtured that relationship. And so it's not a competition. It's just using family as a natural, close relationship because they tend to naturally gravitate because of the amount of time and life that you share with them. That sometimes it's just not the case in families. But in the day when you really need somebody to be there, that friend that you know you can call, who's not going to just tell you what you want to hear, but's going to tell you what is wise, going to tell you what is right. And they're going to encourage you along the way, and they're going to stick with you through the entire trial. They're going to be there to bear the burden. They are so valuable. And I would just suspect that everyone listening has those kinds of friends. And what a joy to be able to nurture those relationships, to be able to watch them blossom and glow and to become all that God intended friendship to be as we learn to walk in wisdom. And so let's not forget about our friends. Let's nurture those friendships, and let's reach out and let each other know we love each other, we care about each other, and how much we appreciate the friendships God has given to us. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow morning.